Welcome to Expertise English YouTube channel. Rethink Your Thinking by CLN Prakash. About the author CLN Prakash. He is an ELT consultant, trainer, teacher, administrator, and author. He works very closely with the British Council and Cambridge ESOL. He trains corporates in business English, trains trainers and teachers. In this prose piece, Rethink Your Thinking, the author, CLN Prakash, describes his views on thinking under four subheadings. They are visual thinking, linear thinking and lateral thinking, not to assume boundaries, setting limits. These subheadings will be analyzed one by one. The first one is visual thinking. We were brought up to think with words, but the most creative minded people thought with pictures instead of words. Albert Einstein, a German born theoretical physicist, said that he rarely thought in words. Ideas came to him in images at first, only later he tried to express in words or formulas. William Harvey, an English physician, watched the exposed heart of a living fish, and suddenly he saw it as a pump. David Hilbert, a German mathematician, formulated the theory of Hilbert spaces, which was the foundation of functional analysis. Newton saw in a flash that the moon behaved like an apple and it falls just as an apple does. Many of the creative people think with pictures instead of words. Here lies the success formula. The difference between linear thinking and lateral thinking. Most of the people think in a linear way. They have series of thoughts which come in a line either vertically or horizontally. This kind of thinking is analytical, sequential, purposeful. It is a traditional way of solving a problem. Whereas in lateral thinking, thoughts do not come in a line. It is a different way of creative thinking in which one can make jumps. It does not follow the logical path. Edward de Bono popularized this kind of lateral thinking to solve a problem. For lateral thinking, the author gives some examples. A small company had workers who were very slow to act. They were not punctual. So the owner talked to them individually. Only a little improvement was made. Then he called them all together. But it was of no use. Twice he tried the vertical solution. Then he did something that cured the problem. He took Polaroid pictures of the workers in the morning, and at noon he posted them on the bulletin board with the timings. Gradually, the workers began to come for the work punctually. Only the lateral thinking worked. The author gives another example also. A large telephone company selected some graduates for work, but they switched over to other companies. So, the administrator offered a lot of perks to the employees, but they were easily hired away. To retain the graduates from leaving the job, the telephone company conducted frequent meetings. During one of these meetings, one of the managers lost his temper and shouted, "I would like to chop their damn legs off, then they wouldn't leave." Then they decided to hire only handicapped people in wheelchairs for the program. They were ready to redo all their entranceways, elevators, and so on. This is lateral thinking. Not to assume boundaries. The author says, you unconsciously assume that a problem has restrictions and boundaries and limitations and constraints when in fact it doesn't. For example, if someone asks you to plant 4 trees you will assume that the 4 trees must be planted in a level piece of land. But it is also possible to plant one tree at the top of the hill and plant the other 3 trees on the sides of the hill. The second one is the famous 9 dots 4 lines problem. Your job is to draw 4 straight lines through these dots without raising the pencil from the paper. It seems that the problem is impossible to solve, but as soon as you allow your lines to travel outside those boundaries, a solution is possible. The author asked his students to make paper airplanes and toss them across the room to the opposite wall about 20 feet away. They were never able to do. The solution is possible if you make the paper like a golf ball and throw it away. The author asks, who said paper airplanes have to look like paper airplanes? Like this, so many solutions are possible to get the ping pong ball out of the pipe. The author says that one should not assume boundaries that aren't there. Setting limits. This sounds like a paradox, but the author talked about earlier were the imagined boundaries. Here he says that creativity itself requires limits. For example, a team was given an assignment to create a television commercial. If they were given too much of freedom, they floundered. But when they were forced to work within the guidelines of the creative strategy with a deadline, they always came up with solution. Leonardo da Vinci says, small rooms discipline the mind, large rooms distract it. By quoting T.S. Eliot's essay, Joseph Heller comments that if one is forced to write within a certain framework, the imagination is taxed to its utmost and will produce its richest ideas. Walter Hunt decided to invent something so simple and he could make a sketch of it in a few hours. He invented the safety pin. Dryden preferred to write verse that is rhymed. Rollo May said, you reject certain ways of saying it, you select other, always trying to form the poem again. Finally, the author C.L.N. Prakash says, deadlines spur you to get something accomplished. Give yourself one. Dear viewers, if you find this prose piece useful, click the like button. Do subscribe the channel and click the bell icon so that you can get the notification of my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.